After a long, bitterly fought campaign, Venezuela holds its first presidential election in 6 years on Sunday. And both candidates, incumbent Hugo Chavez and his rival Enrique Capriles, made the most of their last day on the campaign trail. RT's Lucy Kafanov looks at what's at stake during this election.
There's no question whom these Venezuelans will be voting for come October 7th.
We are here because we support our President Chavez. He does many things to help us. Housing, education programs, helping the poor. Everything here has gotten a lot better because of him. Everything has changed.
Their red shirts brand them as Chavistas, the lifeblood of the Venezuelan president's leftist movement throughout his 14 years in power. For the hundreds of thousands of supporters who gathered in Caracas on Thursday, the message was clear. They want 6 more years of El Comandante. His supporters say that Chavez is the country's first president to genuinely care about the lower class.
Chavez is the punishment to the rich and the window of hope to the poor. May God look over him.
Under the banner of socialism for the 21st century, Chavez has pumped hundreds of billions of petrodollars into the economy and government-run aid programs. Along with earning him popular support, poverty has fallen from 50% in 1999 to around 30% last year. Yet life in this country is far from ideal. And with a plague of unemployment, crime and corruption, many Venezuelans are now saying it's time for Chavez to go.
I'm one of those who voted for Chavez, but his time has passed and we need a change.
In this race, change means a vote for opposition leader Enrique Capriles, a 40-year-old lawyer who, unlike Chavez, enjoyed a privileged upbringing. The son of a wealthy family that controls a media conglomerate and a chain of movie theaters, Capriles has gained supporters by promising to combat crime, unemployment and corruption. But opponents have charged that Capriles is deliberately hiding his real economic goals.
The candidates are complete polar opposites. They couldn't be more different. I mean, Chavez is the man of the people who's come from this kind of poverty and now works to try to change that. And the other candidate, Enrique Capriles, is a man of the wealthy, of the elite, of the oligarchy, who would implement privatization, neoliberal package, programs, austerity.
It's a choice between two radically different worldviews, a referendum on Venezuela's socialist experiment.
For these supporters of President Hugo Chavez, socialism is more than just an idea, it's a way of life. And it's not one they're going to give up anytime soon, regardless of who wins this election. Lucy Kafanov, RT, Caracas, Venezuela.
As promised, expert analysis on Sunday's presidential elections in Venezuela now. Joining me from Maryland is Bill Fletcher, author and senior scholar with the Institute for Policy Studies. Good to have you with us here on RT, sir. Now, U.S. media coverage of Venezuela's presidential campaign has been criticized as one-sided and directed against Hugo Chavez. Why is that?
It's been directed consistently. In fact, there's an excellent article that was published in 2009 by Jules Boykoff that goes through almost point for point about the way that the media in the U.S. has treated Chavez. It is because President Chavez, from the very beginning, has been asserting the sovereignty of Venezuela, the desire to change the economic rules. And this runs counter to the economic philosophy that comes out of the United States. So no matter what Chavez has done at different points, he ends up being blamed as some sort of demon. And we can remember in the coup of 2002, that the U.S. was quick to recognize the coup people and quick to denounce Chavez.
Now, why? I mean, the West does react quite negatively to Mr. Chavez's government. Why? What is the threat that he imposes to them, if there's any?
It's that Venezuela could be an example for other countries. I mean, here you have a country that is saying that neoliberal economics is failing the planet, that the polarization of wealth, which we see not just in one country, not just in two countries, but globally, is completely toxic and must be addressed, and that there must be a redistribution of wealth, that companies cannot run roughshod over the rest of the planet. I mean, this is antithetical to what's been known as the Washington Consensus. So in that sense, they see President Chavez as a threat. And then you add to that that after the victory of the Venezuelan people and the election of Chavez, you had a series of turns to the left in Latin America. They weren't identical, but they were definitely turns to the left and a move to introduce a different economic philosophy and to have greater sovereignty.
These elections that are coming up on Sunday, why is the outcome of these elections so important for countries beyond Venezuela and Latin America? I mean, what's at stake for them here?
Well, what's at stake in Venezuela than outside of Venezuela? What's at stake in Venezuela is that they are polar opposites. These are candidates that are not operating within the same framework. One represents the old, the past, even though he's younger, the older ruling class. One is representing the poor and working people and attempting to introduce some sort of social transformation. The hope, certainly of the United States, is that a defeat of President Chavez would be a defeat and a demoralization of those who wish to go a different economic route, and would be a reaffirmation of what Margaret Thatcher said once upon a time, that there is no alternative.
Let's leave it right there. Thank you very much, Mr. Bill Fletcher, author and senior scholar with the Institute for Policy Studies, for your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much.